1 major, 4 major, 2 minor, 5 major, 3 minor, 6, 2, 5, 1. Hey, I'm Greg Jones. This is the YouTube channel where I teach conceptual guitar. Conceptual guitar is the things behind the things, the ideas behind the riffs, the concepts behind the licks. So today I am going to be teaching on the number system. So what is the number system? Well, the number system, a lot of people think of it as just a notation system. It's much more than that. When they think of notation system, they're usually talking about the Nashville numbering system, which is a cool system, but I'm thinking more broadly. You can, obviously, this is something you can use for notation, but it's a way of thinking about your chords and your chord progressions that will really empower you as a musician. We do this by numbering the chords in a chord progression or a song according to what key you're in. So if you're in a major key, let's say A major, A is 1. If you're in a key of D major, D is 1. Whatever key you're in, that's 1, and then you count up from there. So I'm going to be using C major for all my examples here because it's nice and clean, no sharps and flats. So 1 is C, D, E, F, G, A, and then B, right? So you can also number a song, a chord progression, a key, according to, like if it's in a minor key, you can just say, A minor is 1, etc., B diminished, C major, etc. What I tend to do is just call it 6, because the relative minor for a major key is the 6th chord. So in the key of C major, A minor is the 6th, and I just, so in other words, if I'm in the key of A minor, I just call this 6, even though everything lands there. But maybe I should do due diligence there and start calling it 1, because there might be advantages to thinking like that. But I'm just going to cover majors today, and you can decide after you understand things better how you might want to apply it to minors. So first, before I do that, a lot of people don't understand the value of the number system. In fact, I talk to a lot of people with music degrees, and I ask them, have you learned the number system? Yes, they'll say, but they'll say, I don't use it. So why not? Well, it turns out they don't know the value of it. So I got to tell you, the number system, it slices, it dices, it does everything. So obviously, yeah, you can use it as a notation system, and beyond notation, it's just a quicker way of communicating to other musicians. For instance, I play in an improvisational band. The bass player I play with has a great ear, but in addition to that, he knows the number system. So he and I will give hand signals, because we're improvising the whole thing. We're making up songs on the spot. And when we do, he might turn to me or I to him, and I'll do that for 6. Actually, that's 6 minor, or 5 major, or 4 major, and 3 minor, 2 minor, 1 major. Those are our little hand signals. If I do, 7, actually it's like that. That's 2. So there's 7. Then that would mean 5 over 7. If I do it like that, it's the flat 7 major, because that happens a lot with songs that are mixolydian chord progressions. So anyhow, so that's one of the cool things about the number system, is it's a great communications tool. Second thing is it'll help you to transpose on the fly. So let's say the song had a 1564 chord progression. What's a 1564 chord progression? 1 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 4 major. Okay, if it's in the key of C, that was C, G, A minor, F major, and then back to 1. And then let's say the vocalist said, that's way too low for me. Can you do that in key of E flat? 1564, no problem. I went to 2. one major, 6 minor, 1 major, 5 major, 6 minor. That was a brain fart. 4 major and 1 major. Okay, so that's in the key of E flat. So I'm not giving you a very good example, but the point is supposed to be that I can do these without having to think about it. 1564 in the key of G. Let's try this again. Okay, so that was G, D major, G major, D major, E minor, C major, and back to G, 1564. And then I ended it with the 1 just to land the plane. But so obviously you can transpose on the fly. You can write charts out in numbers and then pick the key later. And if it changes, it changes. You don't have to rechart things. So that's really cool. Another thing about the number system is it tells you how chords function. So like dominant chords function as the 5 chord, major sevenths function as 1 and 4. Sus chords suspended like sus4. You'll see it mostly as the 5, but it'll also work as the 1 really well. You won't. It can be used as 4, but if you do it, then you're changing keys. It implies mixolydian, so because it introduces a flat 7 to the key. So you usually don't see it as much over the 4 chord. But sus2 can work 1, 4, or 5. So we're going to get into that. That'll make more sense in a little bit. But point is that you learn a chord and you can figure out how to use it within the key of a song. So that's valuable. You can predict patterns with the number system because you're thinking in terms of numbers instead of letters, where you might see the same pattern in multiple songs with different keys, but you don't realize it's the same thing. For instance, 2-5-1 occurs all the time in a lot of songs. It's like a cadence. It lands a plane. So in the key of C, it's D minor, G major, and C. Okay, and you'll see that in jazz. Though. So yeah, it's that's the sound of that. The number system. Oh, it tells you what scales to play over it because you know that hey, I'm in major key. That means that I can play the major scale. It'll tell you when there's a key change, permanent, temporary modulation, borrowed chord, modal interchange going on. You'll see something like, hey, that 2 is supposed to be minor. It's a major instead. So I'm in a major key. If I see 2 major instead of minor, that's a Lydian chord progression. So in a key is, I might get to that in my next video because I'll talk about exceptions there. But the point is, this does help you know what scales to play over chord progressions. So that's the value of it. Again, as you see, that's a lot. I didn't even touch on the fact that it's easier to capo and think in terms of capoing on a guitar if you are thinking in terms of numbers. So let's get to it. Let me explain the number system. So in the key of C, I'll do everything in the key of C, no sharps and flats, makes it easy. The C chord's 1, D, E, F is 4, and G is 5. 1, 4, and 5, C, F, and G, those are major. What about the numbers I'm not showing you there? 2, 3, and 6 are minor, okay? And then what about 7? Well, 7's diminish, B diminish. Now that's how it's taught. In practice, you'll rarely see a B diminish in the key of C, especially if it's not jazz or blues. If it's just standard pop, rock, even most popular songs, you won't really see diminished chords used that way. They're usually used as passing chords, where that's using it it's using it diatonically, so it falls in the key of C. A passing chord is a chord that falls between the cracks of these numbers. So, like between 1 and 2, like between C and D minor, I might throw a D flat diminish. Okay, so that's how they're normally used. Diminished chords are. So what I always teach people for the number system is for chord number 7, instead of thinking in key of C, B diminished, I want you to think 5 over 7. What's that mean? It's a slash chord. 5 chords G. 7th note of the key of C is B, right? So G over B, the G chord with the B bass. So that's number 7. And that's how I'll teach it on this video today. So let's hear these chords in order. 1 major C, 2 minors D, 3 minors E, 4 majors F, 5 majors G, 6 minors A, and then I like adding that add 9 that for 5 over 7. That's a G over B. So G add 9 over B. Okay, just adding an A. But they're almost interchangeable. Just a little more color in that one. So let's play them backwards because that's when they start to sound a little more musical when you're descending. So 1 major, 5 over 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 minor, 2 minor, 1 major, okay? Most songs don't descend all the way, but they might descend as far down as that 4 chord, and then maybe, I don't know, do it 2, 5, 1 or something to land the playing. So that's the number system with chord triads. What if we got into 7th chords? You can do these for 7ths, 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths, otherwise all known as extensions, chord extensions. I'm not going to show you all the extensions, but I'll show you 7th chords. So if you're in the key of, again, C major, C, the 1 chord is going to be major 7. 4 and the 4 would also be major 7, but 5 would be dominant instead of major 7. Okay. And then what about the minors? Well, they're all minor 7s. So 2 minor 7, 3 minor 7, and A minor 7, 6 minor 7. And then 7, you could play the dominant 7th over the 7th note. So it's G7 over B. That's the 7. Or in this case, I might get into actually playing the B minor 7 flat 5, otherwise known as B half diminished. So either way. What you'll see in a lot of pop songs is there'll be mostly chord triads and occasionally throw a 7th in. I'm thinking of Red Hot Chili Peppers' Under the Bridge, where they do that. And I don't remember what key that song's in, if it's in the key of E or B, but I know it throws an E major 7 in, and when it does, it's diatonic, meaning it's right in the number system, okay? So most of that song's chord triads, but they throw that in there, and it's beautiful. So you can mix and match these things a little bit. So that's the number system in a nutshell. My next video coming up is going to be like in a series. I'm going to talk about exceptions to the number system. So when there's deviations, like when that 2 minor is major instead, or the 4 becomes minor, when the 5 becomes minor, etc. We're going to talk about what that means, how to think about it. But you got to learn these rules. So you want to watch part 1. I say rules or guidelines. You want to learn the rules before you break them. Okay, so walk before, or crawl before you learn to walk, before you learn to run. Right. So digest this video if this is the first time you've come across this content. Really think about it, learn it. Get it inside here and of course here, and once you do, then go on to part 2, where I will be talking about the exceptions, the deviations from the number system, and what that means, and that'll be a lot of fun too. So if you like the content here, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you don't miss content like that next video. Thanks for watching.